Hello everyone. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to enter data like a pro. Let's dive in. In this example, I'm trying to create a registration form for pets, and data entry clerks are going to be entering data here, but I want to reduce as much as possible the number of times they have to enter text, and this can be done through data validation and drop-down lists. When they want to register a pet, for instance, they can select the tag number from here and then enter the first name, last name. But all of this is going to be based off of a drop-down list. So when you select the province, it's going to filter the cities connected to that province in this cell, and only neighborhoods belonging to this city will be in this cell. Let me go to the database so that we can understand. So we have the database here and we have provinces. And if I select Saskatchewan, for instance, I want to be able to see only cities in Saskatchewan in the drop-down list. And if I selected a city like Saskatoon, I want only neighborhoods, address, and postal codes in Saskatoon to come up in the drop-down list. This is going to make data entry more efficient and easier. So let's start to create the drop-down list for the province. I'm going to start with that one because that's pretty easy. I'll go to data validation and change this to list. And it's going to ask me for the source. I'm going to go to the database, and that's going to be from here. I'll use Shift Control down to select all of that. And once I click OK, I have all the provinces here. Now we need to build the drop-down list for city, neighborhood, address, and postal code. But the approach is going to be slightly different because we're building a dependent drop-down list. So the cities that would be in the list here is dependent on what we select here. So I'm going to build this in the database and then reference back to the data entry form. So I'll come here, and for the city, what I'm going to do is to use filters. I'm going to filter the list. And what array do I want to filter? I want to filter cities. And based off of what? Based off of the provinces. So I'm going to select the province and going to use the equal sign to reference back to the province here and hit enter. I'm going to get a spill with zeros, and that's because we didn't select anything here. If I change the province here to British Columbia, for instance, and we go back to the database, we see that all of the cities are there already. What I'm going to do is to just move this, drag this across all the other cells. And again, we're going to have zeros, no problems with that at all. As we continue to build the formula, we're going to see what happens. So now I need to apply this drop down to the city. So first, let me copy this formula, Control C, hit escape. And then I'm going to use this for data validation. I'm going to go to the list and click this and paste in here. Watch what happens when I click OK. I get an error warning saying I cannot use this formula to build a drop-down list in Excel. And this is the simple reason. Filter is a dynamic array formula, and we cannot use this in a drop-down list. However, there's a trick around this. So I'm going to hit no. I'm going to take out all of this. What I'm going to do is reference the list directly in the database sheet. And that's the reason why I have built all of the formulas in the database here. So once I click on this, I will use the hashtag to close off that selection. And once I click OK, watch what happens. Now we have only cities in British Columbia. I'm going to change to Alberta. That's why I leave, so I know if it works. So yeah, we see Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary, Lethbridge, St. Albert. These are all cities in Alberta. So if I select Edmonton, for instance, here, if you go to the database now, we see that the neighborhoods in Edmonton are populated here. And that's why there's a zero in the other formulas, is because I don't have anything referenced here yet. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with neighborhood, address, and postal code as I've done with city. So what I'm going to do is to copy this and paste it here, but I'm going to do a paste special. So I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Alt HVS. And what I want to do is to paste only the validation. I don't want the cell content to be in these other cells. So I'm going to click OK. Now what I need to do is to change the reference of each of these ones to point to the right columns in the database. So for neighborhood, I'm going to go to data validation. And for this one, I'm just going to change it to a J because that's where I have the neighborhood. Change this from I to J. Click on OK. And now only the neighborhoods in Edmonton. So I'm just going to select one of them, say West End. Now I need to do the same for the address. I go to data validation. And for the list, I'm going to change it to K because that's where the address is. I'm going to change this to a K. And I'm going to select any address. And if you go to the database, for instance, now you see the postal code is populated. The postal code should be only one single option because postal codes are based off of addresses. So do the final one, go to data validation. And in this one, I'm going to change it to L because that's where we have that data source. And click on OK. So there you have it. I have built a data entry solution in Excel. Now I can enter the tag ID, go all the way up, select 001. Then I'm going to type first and last name. And instead of having to enter all of this manually, I just select them from the dependent drop-down list. But is this the most efficient way? I think there's a better way, and that's what I'm going to show you in the second example. So here I have the same setup, but what's going to be different here is I'm going to start with the address. I'm going to cut this with Control X, and I'm going to come here and use Shift Control Plus. What I want to do instead is once the data entry clerk selects the pet ID, enter the first and last name, I want them to be able to search with the address. And once they do the search, the province, city, neighborhood, and postal code will be auto-populated. And so what I'm going to do here is do a data validation for the address and then use a lookup function to call all of these other data based on what's selected in this cell. So I have another database here. The setup is exactly the same. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a data validation. I'm going to go here, change this to list, and it's going to ask me what's the source, and it's going to be the database 2, and it's all of the addresses in here. I'll click OK. So now I can select any address, but there's going to be maybe a million rows here, and I don't want to have to go through all of that. So let's just look up one address in the database. So I'm going to go with 1220 Pine Street. So say I don't want to select the drop down, then start to look for 1220 Pine Street. What I can start to do is to type 1220. And once I see that, I can select 1220 Pine Street. And then we need to just do a lookup, and that's going to automatically populate all of this. So I'm going to use X lookup in this instance. So I'm going to do equals X lookup. And here's the lookup value. And where's the lookup array? That's in this column. And what do I want to return? It's going to be B to E. If not found, well, just return a blank. And the match mode, I want it to be exact. I'm just going to close parentheses, hit enter. And just like that, it brings the province, city, neighborhood, and postal code. I personally prefer this solution to the dependent drop-down list, but that is for this scenario. There are other scenarios where a dynamic drop-down list is a preferable solution. But in this one, this is very neat and simple. I'm going to do another search here. So let's say I want to look for 7728 Queen Street. So what I'm going to do here is to take this out and start typing 7728. So it brings that up. I select it. And just like that, all of the other data changes. Let's try something else out of British Columbia. I'm going to try 8921 Maple Drive. So I'm going to go here. 8921. It's already giving me the suggestion. So I double click, and just like that, we've built, I think, what is a simpler and more scalable solution, because sometimes when you have multiple drop-down lists, the formula could break somewhere, but this one is a very easy and straightforward solution. If you find this content useful, share with others, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.